The rain pounded against the old train station's roof, a relentless drumbeat that drowned out the world. Amid the chaos, a single sharp gasp cut through the noise. A woman's voice, trembling with urgency. "You can't leave," she said, her words barely audible over the storm's roar. "Not now. Not after everything." The man standing opposite her, his coat soaked and his eyes shadowed, froze. His hand hovered over the train door, caught between stepping aboard and turning back. The platform was empty, save for them, two figures locked in a moment that felt like it could shatter time itself. Who were they? Why was this moment so desperate, so raw? The train's whistle screamed, and the story began to unfold. Her name was Eliza, a painter with a heart full of colors no canvas could hold. His was Thomas, a writer whose words had once woven dreams for thousands, but now lay silent, trapped in grief. They hadn't always been strangers. 2 years ago, in a quiet seaside town, their paths crossed at a bookshop during a summer festival. Eliza, with her wild curls and paint-stained fingers, had been browsing poetry when Thomas, reading aloud from his latest novel, caught her eye. His voice was warm, like sunlight breaking through clouds, and when their gazes met, it was as if the world had tilted just for them. They talked for hours that night, sharing stories under a sky bursting with stars, their laughter mingling with the waves. By dawn, they were in love, fierce, reckless, undeniable. For a year, they were inseparable. Eliza painted portraits of Thomas, capturing the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. Thomas wrote stories inspired by her, tales of heroines with her fire and grace. They dreamed of a future together, of a little house by the sea where she'd paint and he'd write, their days filled with love and creation. But love, like all fragile things, can crack under pressure. Thomas's father fell ill, and the weight of family duty pulled him back to the city. Eliza, tethered to her art and a gallery deal, couldn't follow. Promises to visit, to call, to stay close, stretched thin over months. Misunderstandings grew like weeds. A missed call here, a canceled trip there, and soon, silence replaced their once constant chatter. By the time Thomas's father passed, the distance between them felt like an ocean. Eliza tried to move on, pouring her heart into her paintings, but every stroke carried his memory. Thomas, drowning in grief and writer's block, stopped answering her letters. Neither knew how to bridge the gap, and so they drifted, two ships lost in the fog. Until tonight. Eliza had heard from a mutual friend that Thomas was leaving for good, boarding a train to a new life across the country. Panic seized her. She couldn't let him go, not without knowing why he'd let their love slip away. So she ran through the storm, her boots splashing through puddles, her heart pounding louder than the thunder, until she reached the station and saw him about to board. "Thomas!" she'd cried, her voice breaking. He turned, and for a moment the world held its breath. His face was a map of pain and longing, mirroring her own. "Why?" she demanded, rain streaming down her cheeks. "Why did you stop fighting for us?" Thomas's jaw tightened, his eyes searching hers. "I thought you'd moved on," he said, his voice hoarse. "I thought you were better off without me." The confession hung between them, fragile and heavy. Eliza stepped closer, her hands trembling. "I never stopped loving you," she whispered. "Not for a second." The train's final whistle pierced the air, but Thomas didn't move. Instead, he reached for her, his fingers brushing her cheek, wiping away the rain, or maybe tears. "I'm so sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I was lost, Eliza, but I never stopped loving you either." They stood there, soaked and shivering, as the train pulled away without him. The storm raged on, but in that moment, it was just them, two hearts finding their way back. They talked until dawn, unraveling the months of silence, forgiving the pain and promising to try again. Not perfectly, not without fear, but together. As the first light broke through the clouds, Eliza took Thomas's hand. "Let's go home," she said, a smile tugging at her lips. And they did, stepping into a future they'd build one day at a time, their love stronger for having been tested. The station faded behind them, empty once more, but the echo of their story lingered, a whisper of hope carried by the wind.